RoboCops will be patrolling the streets of New York City, literally. Now, let's look into this story because New York City has already tried to implement RoboCops within the police department. And most police departments throughout the entirety of the United States, everyone uses robots. That's not new. What's new is using autonomous technology on the actual streets of New York City. So let's dig into this story. We're going to look at what the police commissioner is saying, and maybe we'll get some laughs. Maybe we'll learn something. I don't know. My name is T-SPLY. Let's get into the video. First things first, here's the commissioner's statement on why they're going to use autonomous robots to patrol the streets of New York City.
We are announcing 3 new policing technologies in New York City. The K5 autonomous security robot, the Spot Digidog robot, and the Star Chase GPS attachment system. Our job is to fight crime and keep people safe. And these tools are significant steps forward in that vital mission.
Sure.
We're here to get started. #GSD.
Okay, so pretty straightforward statement. We got to get with the times. If we're going to adapt and be a new police department who uses all this technology, we got to get with the times, people. But here's the thing. This is not really new technology at all. This is not a boiler. This is, I think it's the K5 system. This is a low security guard robot. Which, you know what's really random? Like 2 weeks ago, I went to Lowe's and I got robbed when I was in there. I don't think this robot was going to stop the robber. In fact, the Lowe's that I go to, now they have a police officer who sits at the door. So anyway, this is the patrolling phase right here. Yep. There it goes. Again, that is not a boiler. That is a autonomous robot security system. I mean, that's cool. That's cool, right? Leave your comments down below if you'd ever be intimidated by that. Now, here's the thing. Police departments, again, have been using robots for a long time. Also, the U.S. military. So I don't want to get it twisted between that kind of robot and what we're talking about. And here's what I mean. The robots that most police departments use, it's not autonomous. It's like literally a remote control car, but souped up. And here's like how effective they can be.
This is the moment Knowles was finally arrested. You see a police robot go into the culvert he'd been in for those hours and fire tear gas. You see him come out as officers swarm him and take him finally into custody.
And there's also been times where those robots have been equipped with some, you know, pretty strong rounds. You can't even say it on YouTube anymore, but you know what I mean. Like, they've taken out suspects before. So here's what the issue is with those robots going into New York City. For 99.9% of people who think of New York City, this is what they think of. This is New York City. Times Square, Manhattan, the bright lights, Jay-Z and Rihanna driving down in a limo and talking about New York. Okay, that is like... This is 0.1% of New York City, and this is where those robots will be patrolling. Sorry, I'm laughing because I can't believe I just made a Jay-Z quote on a video. The crime and the issues is not here. I'm not dismissing that we need to make sure that this area of New York City is okay and protected. The issue is New Yorkers are having problems like in the streets of New York. We're talking Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, like the boroughs, all right? And I'm not trying to pick up a stereotypical block of New York City, but this is New York City. This is New York for New Yorkers. And New Yorkers could care less about the tourists coming into Times Square. That's great. But they have their own problems they're trying to deal with. And those robots are not going to be patrolling the streets of the Bronx, all right? They're going to be patrolling the mean streets of Manhattan. What exactly do these autonomous robots provide? Well, I highlighted this section right here, and there's one issue that even the New York City Police Department said, we are not going to be implementing these robots in that way. And I guarantee you guys will catch it. So let me read exactly what these robots are going to do, more specifically the K5 robot. You know, the one that looks like the boiler? Okay, so this is a 400-pound, 5-foot-tall wheeled robot that looks like a real-life giant R2-D2. It does. The egg-shaped robot has no appendages and is mostly just a ball of sensors. It has a 360-degree camera system, a thermal camera, LiDAR, sonar, GPS, 16 microphones, speakers to play back pre-recorded live messages. It can autonomously patrol an area, detect people, and recognize license plates, and has facial recognition. and has facial recognition. And has facial recognition. Though the New York Police Department claims facial recognition will not be used. As a wheeled robot, it can only access ADA-compliant areas via ramps. Okay, the reason why I kept harping on the facial recognition, that is not quite legal in the United States because now we're getting into Chinese territory of doing face recognition on whether or not you're happy or sad. And if you're more happy, you get more points for being a great human being. And that's a real thing. Go look into it. It's called the social credit system. Now, something else the police department said was that these robots, the Manhattan robots, were also going to be patrolling possibly subway systems. Now, there is an issue here because ADA-compliant areas via ramps, anyone who's ever been to New York City trying to get to the subway, it's not that easy, people. Okay, here's your stereotypical New York City subway staircase to go down into the subway or come out. And I know a lot of New Yorkers right now can smell this picture. And again, anyone who's never been to New York City, it could smell pretty bad. Those robots cannot patrol these dead areas. And what I mean by dead is like, a lot of bad things can happen here. Suspects can run in and out and use this as a shortcut to get to the train or whatever they're trying to do. And those robots cannot patrol here. So maybe they can stand at the bottom, but again, that autonomous system does have limitations. As the police department said, cannot go up and down stairs. Now, these robots are not actually new, okay? This is not new technology like I had mentioned in the beginning. These have been out around since 2015, and this is a picture from 2017 when a K5 decided to, quote-unquote, end it all and go straight into a pond. And I'm going to make an assumption that the software is always developing and updating, and this was probably a fluke. But for the most part, every time I look into these autonomous systems, there's nothing like really that great about them. I can't find a case or evidence where crime was stopped because of these robots. If anything, what I think the value is in these robots is the fact that it's just a showstopper. You're literally, imagine like, I'm gonna go into this Lowe's and we're gonna take the lumber in the back, and you're like, is that a floating boiler? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what the value is in these robots. Obviously, they can track data, which that gets on the fine line of, are you allowed to do that? And it collects data. It takes your picture in case you do something bad. And I think it's just a police presence, not necessarily a bad thing, not a good thing. I think it's just there, and I think there are times where it's just good to be there, just have something there. Now, the public outcry is wasting public dollars to invade New Yorkers' privacy is a dangerous police stunt. The police department will actually be saving a lot of money having these autonomous robots, which they calculated at $9 an hour, which is pretty good for having a floating boiler. They also said New Yorkers should be investing in actual human beings, not robots. And in no way, shape, or form do I think the New York City Police Department is trying to replace humans with robots, even though they did throw that out there. Hey, it's $9 an hour for a robot. In fact, New York City Police Department had mentioned that these robots have to be accompanied by a human being. And to be honest with you, I think the main reason for that is Manhattan is so congested is that a bunch of people who come to Manhattan will have no idea why there's a floating robot moving around, and they're going to want to take pictures of it. They're going to want to mess with it. So I don't know how effective these robots are really going to be. And again, I think for most New Yorkers, like, the issue is not so much in the little congested part of Times Square. It's in the boroughs. It's out in the actual streets of New York City. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Again, this is not new technology. Let me know if you've seen this technology before. Maybe you have it in your city or your neck of the woods. But New Yorkers, they don't seem too receptive to the idea. And I think New York City is really smart by putting them in the Manhattan area because they know most New Yorkers don't go to Manhattan. They avoid it. Like, why would I go to that McDonald's in Times Square right there? There's a billion McDonald's everywhere else. You know what I mean? So anyway, let me know what you guys think. My name is T-SPLY. Leave your comments and opinions down below, and we'll see you later.